Arsenal. Yeah, but Arsenal has just low standards. It doesn't really count. I'm talking about a big club, innit? Like,
Phase of the problem. Ole's fine. It's just nah, stop it, guys.
What's happening, people, and welcome to Ground in Manchester United episode 3. Got a big panel today. Nuruddin will be on his way soon, but welcome to Bryant, Danny, Devin in the details, and Ivorian Spice from Red United TV. Guys, how are we doing today?
I'm good. I always trip over that intro because how young I look on that graphic. I'm 16 years old.
You're welcome.
Every time I see it, I'm just like, wow, fresh.
Me too, man. Big ups, man. I'm doing good, man. I'm happy, man. Manchester United so far, you know, with this news coming through, with the news from Central being confirmed after a very long time. It's looking good, this summer transfer window. You know, we're used to not signing players at this time. Usually Eddie Woodward's on holiday around these times if he was in charge. But it's looking good now. It looks prosperous. Like, it's looking at the future will look good once the Glazers get things sorted. So I'm happy.
You missed one thing. It's not just Woodward's on holidays. Woodward's not at pre-season because he's working on deals. Woodward's left to go do a deal that he doesn't do for 2 months later.
Hey, Nuruddin.
How you doing, people? How are we doing? We all right?
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Just in time, we just started. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to Shivam, Champions League Varane. Exciting times. United moving fast in the transfer window. Norwegian P teacher out says big up. Ole the Clown signed a new deal. We'll get into that. Shivam says Champions League Varane. Yeah, he said it twice, so he's very excited. Big up Naj as well. I'll get you on next week. But guys, we are going to start with Ole's contract because when that was sort of announced, even though we all sort of knew it was coming because it came out really ages ago, them considering this new contract, there was still a lot of anger on the timeline, a lot of annoyance. But I don't know. I think we all knew it was coming, so it's not even a big deal. But gonna start with you, Spice. I haven't heard your views on this yet. What do you make of Ole getting a new contract?
Boy, I don't make of it pretty much, you know, be honest with you, because everybody, if you watch my videos, I'm always being Ole out from the moment we got him since after the PSG game, because I saw the flaws. But at the same time, I'm always going to back someone that's been in charge. You got no choice but to back whoever's in charge. In terms of what I've seen so far, when it comes to Ole, in terms of whether he deserves a deal, yeah, there's improvements that we've had since Ole's come in. You can see there's stability in the team. The team are finishing in the league in a higher position that they ever have been with the previous managers. Although the other previous managers won titles, again, there's been a slight improvement in terms of the football. Even though the football itself is not really the best, but there's still been an improvement. We've got better players than we had before. But it just, in terms of the finishing facts, in terms of Ole getting things over the line, like the semi-finals, I can never forget that. The final, the Europa League decision making in terms of the substitutions, the lack of tactical, what's called stability in terms of knowledge and all sorts of stuff like that. He still doesn't have it, and it's a shame that we still say that he's learning after 10 years of being a manager. In terms of what he's done last season, I still don't believe he's supposed to get a new contract. If you look for it, if you're doing performance review management, I used to be a store manager. I used to be a manager. If I look at what it depends. If our business is if our board owners are looking at Ole as a measure of success in terms of finishing the top 4, then yeah, you can give him a new contract. But if your business actually is to win the title and win trophies and etc. and play attacking football at the highest level, you wouldn't really give him an extension. You would wait until December in his last 6 months. I understand people say they want stability. The manager needs stability in his head. How's he going to be able to do his job? If he's got that in his head, at the end of the day, it comes with the job, it comes with the pressure. You know, in anything that you do in life, it comes with pressure and it comes with that expectation that you need to fulfill. And if you're unable to do that, then you're not good enough. So to me, I'm not happy, but hey, what can you do? Like, it is what it is. He will sack himself eventually if he's not good enough. Right now, the club's backing him, with these type of players of Sancho and Varane. If he can get a tune out of all of them and start improving the team, then yeah, keep him. But if he can't, he will sack himself. That's what I've got to say.
No, that's fair enough. Danny, I saw you shaking your head there. What are you
Yeah,
thinking?
for numerous reasons. So the reasons why he deserves a new contract. So Spice dismisses the idea of sustainability, laying down foundations so successful long beyond Ole's contract, or if he gets fired in a year, the team he's built will be in a good position regardless, right? Because I think we've seen from Ole, he's not going to fall off a cliff. He's not going to fall off a cliff. So people forget where we were when Mourinho left. People forget that, and in 2 years, I think they've either overrated the team or they've just fast forward way too much, and they're like, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. I don't feel that way. And I don't feel that way because when Ole got that job, when they hired a man with no CV, who was an interim manager, and the second half of that wasn't very good, him or the players, doesn't matter. And the narrative was, this is a rebuild. As soon as I heard the word rebuild, in my mind, I judge everything in that context. I reference the rebuild. What can I look at? I'm a Man United fan. I've seen Sir Alex Ferguson rebuild. I saw him rebuild between 2003 and 2006. I remember us missing targets. I remember us finishing bottom of a Champions League group. All of these things. Jurgen Klopp's rebuild at Liverpool. I look at that. Year 1, year 2. What did he do that significant? He got to a Champions League final. He lost it. Didn't win any trophies. Points total in the Premier League for Jurgen Klopp for his interim period, which was like longer than Ole's. That's 9 months. I mean, his following season, same points total. The following season, the points total weren't that significant either. So in the context of a rebuild, Ole's done okay. No more, no less. 7 out of 10. That's it. And something that people miss, and it's a really important point, and it's not from me, from a journalist. You cannot sign world-class players if you don't have a project. So if you're going to back Ole and say, he's your guy, you give him a new contract. And you say, here's our plan. If you're Varane, talk to Pogba. I think Pogba's staying. I don't think Varane comes if he knows Pogba's leaving, by the way. Jadon Sancho, buddies with Rashford. If these players had a negative view of Ole the way you do, or anybody else who's watching, these guys wouldn't be here. They wouldn't be here.
I don't have a negative view on Ole. I
in regards to getting a contract
and everything, in terms of giving the contract, they should have waited.
You can't wait and then tell a player, we've got a project. You can't do it. That's unprofessional. The manager's got a 1-year deal. You don't have a project. You don't have one. You can't send a player on a project. So Manchester United are actually behaving like a proper football club for once, because we don't more time. More time we don't. So, and like you said, Spice, he'll get himself sacked. That's why I don't really care. I knew Ole can build a good team. And look what we've got right now. That back four is set. Everyone brings something to the table. I'm not AWB's big fan. I'm not his biggest fan, but at least he's really, really good at one thing. Maguire, dominant at one thing. Varane, multifaceted. Shaw, multifaceted. So, yeah, he deserved that new contract for me. He's laying foundations down, so Manchester United will be successful after he's gone. He deserves a new contract for me.
No, very good points there.
So that was so long-winded. I apologize.
No, it's fine. It's all good. Everyone can have their say here. Nuruddin, welcome. Well, good. What do you make of what Danny and Spice have said so far?
I just try, you know me, I'm always about the historical context. Well, Ferguson was leaving after 99. He wanted to, that was it, it was done. Man United were negotiating, and actually he was out in the press with Eriksson, Sven-Göran Eriksson, who was the England manager at the time. Certain players were looking at Fergie, even though he was done, the guy who just won the treble. We're looking at him going, well, you're not going to be here next season. So they were not focusing in terms of, and footballers are that. So what they say about footballers is that if you give them an inch, they're like children, innit? They'll take 20 yards. You know what I mean? You give them an inch, they'll take 20 yards. Anything that can ever give them an excuse, they'll take as well. So I agree. Well, what he was saying just now, but I also understand the frustrations of fans saying that they should have waited. But one thing when you do is exactly what he just said. you can't wait when they've got one year left of the deal. You can't, because you've got to be able to say there is a long-term plan for this. When you're signing players, the conversations are this is how you're gonna. But the counter argument could be that certain players sign for clubs, they don't sign for managers. They understand the football business is very fickle, and managers, especially in the last decade or two or decade and a half, managers get sacked right, left, and center at big clubs, right? So they sign for the club and the reputation of the club. And that's one thing that has made me realize this past couple of days is that Man United have still got the name. Our name still means something to certain players, even though we've not been there. We've not been moving like a big club, because we've got absolute vultures, and we got Bristol University bankers who had the control for the past decade, almost decade. The people who have had control, who had the power of Man United, have been Bristol University bankers. So my issue with the contract is that it's 3 years with a further 12-month option. Thomas Tuchel just got 2-year contract at Chelsea. Pochettino at Paris Saint-Germain got 2 years extension. Pep Guardiola, the most successful manager in this country, he's won 8 trophies in 6 years. He got 2 years extension. So I have a problem of the length of the contract. I don't have any problem. And Man United, once they said Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is their man and they're buying players, had to back their manager. So they had to sign it. But it was very interesting in the time they released it as well. They didn't release it in any time before the preseason. They released it. Ole signed his contract before the Europa League. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer signed his contract months before the Europa League. They were going to announce it at the end of the Europa League final because they thought that's what they would think. They announced it 36 hours after they announced Jadon Sancho. So all Twitter is there, twerking like it does when United sign a decent player. Twitter's twerking all the time. So that's what they did. That's what they are. So Man United are good at marketing, very good at propaganda, because that's all we had. That's all we have. If Twitter trending was a trophy, Man United would be champions. And I always say, if social media propaganda was a trophy, we would be undefeated. We would be going at. I mean, who was the most dominant sports person in their sport?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
This is it, exactly. We would be that. That's who Man United would be in terms of trend. But the biggest thing for me is that what I'm looking for this season, and I don't know, maybe that's a question you're coming to, and my ADHD brain looks ahead, is the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is on the biggest pressure he's ever been on at Man United this season to win a trophy. And that's what I'm hearing on the streets from the diehard Ole inners.
But very quickly, Rachel, somebody put a comment there, yeah? And they're looking at Tuchel, they're looking at Chelsea. First of all, Chelsea know what time it is with Chelsea. They sack managers so quickly. Anything more than a 2-year deal is just a fallacy. Everyone knows that. He sacked Ancelotti after he won a Premier League, like 3 months into the season. Yeah.
He sacked him when he did the double.
Yeah.
They won as well.
But if you're a football player, right, and Man United don't give Ole a new contract, and they're like, don't worry about Ole. We've got a plan as a football club. You're going to trust them based on the track record of the last 7-8 years. I wouldn't trust them. What do you mean you've got Woodward? You've got a plan. I don't talk. Let me talk to John Murter. Let me talk to Fletcher. I'm not talking to you. And the reason why we can say this now about Murter and Fletcher is largely because of Ole as well. Ole pushed for this. Ole wanted this. He still gets the biggest say, but I don't think people appreciate he's fixed Manchester United Football Club.
I get that. I can agree with you on that.
He'll get 1 more year, and everyone knows I support Ole hard. Give him 1 more year. If I don't see nothing significant, thank you very much. I appreciate you. I'm not like Johnny going to say, fuck you, you can leave. No, Ole, thank you for saving Manchester United. We're going to move on, get a better manager, but thank you for the foundations. The contract means nothing. He'll get fired. He can get fired easily. We gave Mourinho a new contract, didn't back him in the summer. I never understood this. We gave him a new contract. We were second in the Premier League, like 15 points from City. And this was in January or February, was it, Nerden? I can't remember. I think it was February. And then we go into the summer, we don't back him.
Yeah.
Wasn't it December when he signed a new contract?
He got the contract in December.
Okay.
But do you remember what he was doing before that? Man United, because obviously when I tell people, please when people show you who they are, believe them. I'm quoting the late great Maya Angelou, right? Man United board, the bankers, Arnold, Woodward, and Matt Judge don't have a clue about football. Mourinho is the guy who's been around the block. The dark arts is his thing. He literally said, my son likes Paris as a city so much, and Paris Saint-Germain as a football team. He gets on the Euro tunnel and goes up to Paris to watch Paris Saint-Germain. That's what Mourinho was saying in press conferences when he was the Man United manager. Them man's panicked. Oh, damn, he must be talking to Paris Saint-Germain. We better, and the fans will be against us. We better give this guy a contract. And then, ching. He had his 20 million payout. That's the thing about Mourinho. He will always make sure he walks out with a 20 mil, 15 mil. No other manager in the history of football has ever walked out of clubs with that amount of money in the bank. Just for that alone, his great children are going to be eating, chilling, because he always bags the money when he leaves. He never leaves without bagging 20 million, 15 million. And that's what he does.
No, it's true. It's true. Brian, we haven't heard from you yet. So how do you feel about Ole's contract?
Yeah, you know, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I mean, players. I mean, Phil Jones should be enough of a sample size for us to recognize that players outlast managers. If that dude's still employed at Manchester United, it doesn't matter how long Ole got a contract extension for. You know what I mean? So it like I will never understand the big deal around. I'll never understand. Let me backtrack. I understand the frustration behind it, especially for people who don't particularly rate Ole. However, I don't necessarily understand the outrage around it because of how Manchester United have treated managers in the past and they've given them contract extensions. It's not like they can't operate in that way again. You know what I mean? Like if Ole gets himself fired, if he does something where he can't cut it anymore, we'll get rid of him and then we'll bring somebody else in. And like many people before me have said, the club will be in a better spot after Ole leaves than it was when he got here. You know, I was having a conversation on Twitter earlier this week about that, and I was saying that it's unfortunate for Ole that he's the manager of Manchester United because the majority of the work that he's done, his best work for Manchester United, has been behind the scenes. And the manager position at any football club is a public position, and people will judge you by what they see you do or don't do. So it's unfortunate for Ole that he's probably wired more as a backroom staff person than a manager on a touchline. But I'm appreciative for what he's done for the club, for the ways that he's pushed vision and tried to unify the club and bring things together and bring the types of players with ability and profile that Manchester United should be signing. I'm very happy with him in that regard. Now, he can, whether or not he improves, like tactically, whether or not he improves systematically, that's yet to be seen. But for what Ole has done, considering what he walked into, has been absolutely brilliant. And I have all of the praise in the world that I can give to him for that. And the sentimental part of me says that I know right now that I back Ole hard. I also know that Ole's not good enough. The sentimental part of me says that maybe the longer that Ole stays here and the more the board back his project, he will become good enough. That's the sentimental part of me. Right? But that could happen. That probably won't happen. But regardless, I think 5-10 years down the line, we'll be able to look back on what Ole did for the club when it's kind of brought more to light publicly, and have a fond appreciation for all of the hard work that he did to get Manchester United, to give Manchester United a platform for sustained success going forward over long periods of time, opposed to winning the odd trophy here or there. So I don't have any issues with the contract.
No, that's fair enough. Sorry, some of these comments are a bit wild at the moment.
It's always when I'm talking.
I haven't heard this term since the 90s. Batty washer.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Indapal's always in the comments, and he loves Hancock.
Wild.
Yeah, I coined the term. Maybe I don't know if some of these people are from. Some of them might be from my channel, but I coined the term when the corona started kicking off. Wash your face, wash your body, because people were like, toilet paper in it. People were like, toilet paper's all gone. Went to the shops, and I'm like, wash your body. You got water.
Funny.
You got hot water. Right? Wash your body, wash your face, wash your hands. This is what people are jumping on that. Yeah, it is what it is. But let people be wild. It is a Tuesday night.
Let's get to the positives. Let's get to the positives, man. Come on.
Well, we're just about to go on to that. Raphael Varane, guys. Now,
have you got sound effects? Have you got horns like?
I guess we don't need them anymore.
No, we don't. Thanks, guys. So Raphael Varane was actually confirmed by the club in the last hour or two, I would say.
I tell you, it happened exactly at 5 minutes to 7.
Oh, so you? Okay.
How do you know the exact time? What was happening?
Never a foul. I was on never a foul. Behind, but backstage, about to do a stream for 7. And we're like, what? Someone put it to the screen. It's like, that ain't, bro. That's from parody shit. I can't believe we announced him this early.
There were talks about it happening next week. So I was expecting just to wait for a week and see what's happening. But yeah, Varane has been confirmed by the club, guys. So Varane and Sancho are our 2 signings so far. Who wants to go first? Who wants to, start with the Varane prop?
I'll go first. I'll be quick.
You'll be quick?
Thank me. All of you can thank me.
Oh, that's a shot.
I see that. I saw that subliminal.
That's a shot.
You all can thank me. I've been speaking this into existence for 18 months. People are telling me Ramos, he needs to Ramos. I'm like, fuck all of that. Yeah, this guy's world class. Next to Maguire, look at their skill sets. Partnership is going to be beautiful. We have easily top 2, top 3, maybe the best centre-back partnership in the Premier League, top 5 or top 10 in Europe. I'm cool. I'm happy. Back 4 is set. Not happy about Aaron Bissaka going forward, but defensively, we're good. We're good. And by the way, defense wins championships, not attack. So I'm so happy right now. I'll leave it there. And I was quick, Rachel. So
I'm very impressed. I'm not going to lie to you. Nuruddin, I saw you shaking your head. So do you disagree with Danny?
You know what? No, because I'm trying to allow myself to be positive because I'm always trying to be real. Football is not played on paper. I put the tweet out, talking cheek. I said, welcome. I always welcome every player Man United, and I always welcome them. Whatever platform I'm on, I always welcome. So say, first of all, welcome Raphael Varane to Manchester United. You got away 10 years ago. Fergie was on the Euro. He was on the Euro train on the way to Paris, on the way to France to try to sort the deal out. And Zinedine Zidane, who was at the time working with, in terms of the scouting with Real Madrid, basically rang Varane and said, Varane, forget Man United. You're going to Real Madrid and you're going to be player. You're going to go into the first team. So Raphael Varane, the story between Raphael Varane and Man United it's been one of those, how many times we were linked to him, even when he was settled in Real Madrid. It was always been there. The biggest thing for me is that football is not played on signings. It's like a fever move. Football is real and is on the ground. And I think 100% I agree. The way the partnership should be good, because now you've got somebody who can be aggressive, Maguire, who can be even more aggressive in terms of the first block, him going for the ball, like Vidic and Ferdinand, where I'm not saying that Maguire's Vidic before everybody hits me, and I'm not saying that Varane is Rio, prime Rio. So it's just that type of level of kind of like compatibility is for the first time is there. I think Varane will need some time to adjust. You know what I mean? I said that on the tweet that your biggest test would be on a wet Tuesday night in Burnley against Woods and Barnes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're gonna try to dunk on that poor boy.
Yeah, that's what it's gonna be. That is what it's gonna be. And the level and the amount of crossing. I look at leagues sometimes and I think the way that the football is in certain leagues. In La Liga, the amount of times the ball is crossed in the air is almost less than what is crossed in the Premier League. In the Premier League, the ball going out wide and being put in for headers and set pieces, teams just working for set pieces and angles to get the ball in the air is a huge thing. La Liga, the more footballing, teams. They try to open you up on the floor and cutbacks to the byline. So it's going to be very interesting. He's going to need some time to adapt. But I think in the long term, we've got him at his prime. At the worst time, he could give us 4 years. And welcome Varane. But I'm not getting too giddy because I think that's one jigsaw. But the biggest jigsaw, you cannot sign a right winger. You cannot sign a quick centre half and leave out a CDM for me. Because the idea of McTominay and Fred together next season is I'm already getting cold sweats. You know those cold sweats that you get? Because I'm already getting those. So I'm not looking forward to seeing those two. And I'm hoping that Man United for once act like a proper football team and think, right, this position is almost kind of like the biggest elephant in the room, and they will address it. I'm hoping and praying they do that.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're like a ring donut at the moment, and I kind of want jam. So, you know, I want the midfielder. You know, we have been linked to it. We're going to discuss that in a little while. But yeah, I want the jam, guys. But yeah, Spice.
First of all,
what are you making of Varane? You excited?
I'm gonna be the one that's gonna show the excitement because I'm excited. I'm excited because why? Finally, we've got a world-class centre back, one of the top 5 centre backs in this world. You know, if it's a funny thing that ever since Man United have confirmed this signing, people are downplaying the likes of the quality of Raphael Varane. Yeah, but that's the thing. The moment we sign, oh no, who is he? I heard from Talk Sport, aka Talk Shit, aka Talk Stupid, Jamie O'Hara talking the likes of Ben White's better than Raphael Varane. Stuff like that.
Wait, did he say that?
Yes. Just go on Talk Shit, and then you'll find out.
Fair, he said in the long term.
In the long term, it don't make no sense. Even in the long term, he will never be. He will never be because in 5 years' time, Raphael will be still one of the top prime defenders in this world. Like, I'm excited and I'm happy because I saw this coming for a very long time, since January. The fact that people never believed, they all thought that, oh my God, he's coming. He's just using us for money for a new contract. No, he wasn't. I believed in it. I said to myself, I noticed that Varane wanted to leave from the season beforehand. He wanted to leave Real Madrid beforehand. He wanted a new challenge. His spirit was asking for a new challenge. His spirit was saying, you know what, I'm tired of the bloody sun. I want some rain now, bro. I want something different, you know. I want the Manchester, the England lifestyle, you know. I want fish and chips on a Friday. You know, he said that. He said, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. And I believe in it. And for all of those who didn't believe it, for the likes of Milhouse from Simpson, he's here now. He's here. And he chose Manchester United. And people think that he did. Listen, PSG was interested. And a couple of weeks ago, PSG dropped the interest. And there was a reason why. Because he always wanted this Manchester United move. He wanted this Premier League move. He wanted to come here. So, yeah, for those who believe that it's just for the money, no, it's for the challenge and for the fact that he wanted to come here. And he chose Manchester United. And I'm happy now. And I'm happy that someone like Harry Maguire's got someone to make him look like the 80 million defender that he's supposed to be. So, and the partnership's going to be amazing. I'm happy about this. And like I said, it shows signs. I was saying earlier on, Manchester United do not sign 2 world-class players like that in a short space in July, where normally we know that our CEO, Ed Woodward, usually takes holidays around this time. He's done it last summer. He's done season before. Yeah. It's not normal. So these are big signs that Manchester United, they're trying to be serious now. They're trying to be serious. So I'm going to sit down, you know, put my seatbelt on and enjoy this transfer summer until the end.
Wow. Hernandez, Penchester, United, Penford. Yo, salute to this guy. I've never seen anyone glimpse.
Do you know what we've got a couple of those. We've got this one, and we've got Honest City Fans Funny as well. To be fair. It's probably the same person.
Differently.
That's funny.
Yeah, we have some interesting people on this channel. In the power back again, without a CDM, United looks a batty that's unwashed. We need this.
Oh my God.
I agree with that. I agree. It looks like a batty that's not seen water or toilet paper for a long time.
Brian,
Yeah, Brian, go on, tell us what you think.
Yeah.
can you say grace before Varane finishes his dinner and establishes himself as the best in the Premier League?
yeah. I'll make sure to do that. I'm not
No,
sure if
if
it
you
works.
don't know,
Yeah.
Bryant's a pastor. He's actually a pastor, unlike Fred.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
Oh, Varane. I'm so excited. He's such a good player. I think one of the funny things I notice is that it's really funny how Manchester United continues to like live in the heads of rival fans whenever we do or don't do something. Like people constantly have to talk about Manchester United. That shows that even if Manchester United aren't quote unquote doing or winning whatever, that people are still scared of us. They know, like the fact that there have been Chelsea fans who have said we only need Haaland, we don't need a center half. We didn't want Varane. Varane's overrated, and now they're linked to Koundé. I think that's hilarious. And now they're like agreeing a deal for Koundé. I think that's hilarious. The fact that there are Chelsea fans who are comparing Varane to Thiago Silva to try to prove how good he is instead of just letting Thiago Silva stand on his own. The fact that you have City fans who were saying, look at what we did to Varane, or Chelsea fans saying, look at what we did to Varane in the Champions League one season compared to the longevity of his 10-year career at Real Madrid. The fact that you have statistics saying that Varane made 4 big mistakes in 4 seasons in the Champions League, and that's supposed to be a big deal. Like, people know. And on top of that, to put the icing on the cake, the fact that every single time Manchester United sign a player, their wages have to be talked about. Their wages have to be discussed. It never happens for anybody else unless they play for Manchester United. Like, people know what type of player Raphael Varane is. And the reason it means so much to me that we sign a player of this caliber is because people are hoping that he flops, which means that they know that he probably won't. Like now I will say like Raphael Varane is, I'm impressed with him already. He wasn't the main guy in that partnership. Ramos was. And I'm interested to see him take a step up to have a bit more pressure on him. I'm interested to see him take that step up to have a bit more pressure on him playing for Manchester United, to come from a team where he's been so successful over his career, to come to a project and to be a part of what that is. It just shows a lot about his mentality and what he brings, and he's going to elevate our team. We have a real serial, like, world-renowned winner in our dressing room. And if we keep Pogba this summer as well, which I believe that we will, it only elevates the mentality of the players that can kind of call on others to be better than they have been. Imagine Raphael Varane yelling at Anthony Martial to freaking put a smile on his face when he's on the field. You know what I mean? Like my guy.
Would never happen.
Well, I can say I'm really excited. This was the one signing that I didn't think we would get. I thought that this would be the one that would elude us. I was confident of getting a DM of some level. I was confident of getting Sancho. Varane, I thought, was one of those players, just the way we've done things with Madrid in the past, that just may have eluded us a little bit. But the fact that we've got him, and for the fee we've got him for at the point in his career, it's a steal. It's a steal.
Can I add one thing quickly?
Of course you can.
So,
I said no.
spoken. You missed one thing, Brian, when you were waxing lyrical about him.
The
He's
Ramos
the
thing.
most decorated player to come into the Premier League by a distance.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, true.
Most decorated. We've got a winner. We need a winner in that dressing room. Champions League Varane.
You know what?
No, you need to come up with a chant. Get that
You know
in
what?
there.
It's very interesting. He's probably the most successful finalist footballer in the world in a long time. 14 finals, 14 trophies.
Yeah, he's never lost one, has he? Yeah.
He's never lost a final.
At the very least, good luck. He's good luck.
Hasn't Raphael Varane scored more goals in knockout football in the World Cup than Messi and Ronaldo? Isn't that one of those like weird statistics about him?
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
Listen, Brian, all what you said is all good. Can he handle Woods and Barnes on a Tuesday night?
Yes, he can.
Look, Nuruddin, he's gonna get dunked on at least once, but not twice. Lindelof will get dunked on every time the ball comes in. That's an improvement.
He's a bully. So Varane's a bully in Spain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Bully.
But you know what? The only thing my only caution to this is that we've seen big players come from other big leagues who have been incredible in the past. And they take time. And you know how Twitter, social media is, yeah? Mm-hmm. I just want to behold our fans to say that it's going to take time for him to get used to playing in the Premier League, because the Premier League is different gravy. But
he doesn't have time.
The biggest thing, what showed me, the biggest thing, one game for me, which was fascinating actually, and actually Germany were the better team in the Euros, is how he defended, how he was above he was clear by far the best defender on the pitch that night was Germany versus France. And Germany had loads of chances, to be fair. Most people forget that. A goal came from an own goal. Germany scored. Mbappe had a couple of goals disallowed, whatever, offside, whatever. But Germany attacked them, and Germany put loads of balls in the box. And he cleared. And by that game, for me, he was man of the match. And that game, for me, because I did see him against Man City, where he had a terrible game in the Champions League against Man City at the Etihad. And I was like, whoa, is he there? Can he be there? Because in that game, I don't know whether he was sleeping. But I'll go back to what one of the brothers said. The guy wasn't, he said that the guy wasn't motivated. He wanted to get out of there for a long time. He wanted to get out of Madrid for a long time. So when you want to get out, are you going to be giving it 100%? It's very difficult for you to be able to give as a human being once your mind's made up in terms of that you don't want to be here anymore. So I'm just putting that caveat on it. But yeah, he's probably the best player Man United have signed since the Fergie era. And you know what? The way how Twitter and FIFA generation go on, it's like Man United never used to sign big ballers. Man United broke records on sound ballers after ballers.
Wait. It's always nice to have a few older people on because they can remember.
Yeah.
You never signed big names, unless the British names, yes.
Yeah.
But players.
Van Nistelrooy was one of the best strikers in the world at that time.
Well, in Holland he was.
Sebastian Veron was one of the greatest midfielders of his generation in that time. United
wanted the players
formation, and they wanted to play and they couldn't. They didn't use him. They bought the guy.
He played as a second striker.
Yeah, and they bought that guy, and he is a ball-playing pivot guy who plays in that. But they had Keenan Scholes, two of the best as well. We're talking about Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand was the guy. Fergie tried him twice already before he got him for 30 million. Like, Man United did sign players. We did sign. And even what Paul Ince in his time was the best midfield player in. Roy Keane was a club British record.
Yeah, but we didn't sign Maldini. We didn't sign Cannavaro. We didn't sign Raul.
Maldini
we didn't sign Ronaldinho. No, I'm saying in terms of this is probably.
He wanted Pep as well, didn't he?
Yeah. But he
never. Let me ask you this. When did we genuinely?
Maldini, Cannavaro, those guys were never going to leave Italy. I mean, Real Madrid. Cannavaro left Real Madrid later, but they were never going to leave. Maldini was never going to leave AC Milan. It's exactly the same. Paul Scholes.
Yeah, but
United, right?
Part of it. But that's a part of it. That's a factor in it. We haven't signed.
We were going to get Batistuta, but guess what? His agent last minute put a clause and said, "I want extra 20 grand in terms of the wages." Manchester United, Martin Edwards had the structure. We only broke two players. We broke the wage structure for Rio Ferdinand, Roy Keane, because they both were worth it to break it for. Batistuta was the only other guy we were this close to signing. Everything was agreed. His agent last minute said we want 20 or 15 grand more in his wages. And Martin Edwards said to Fergie, I'm not breaking this for a guy that's not proved anything to us. I'm not breaking the club structure, the wage structure.
But my point is, we've never signed a player who you could genuinely say is top 2 in the world. Never. Never. When we signed Rio, Maldini, Nesta, other guys were around. Even Roy Keane, like, please, Vieira's a better player than Roy Keane. Like, we've never signed top 2 in the world player, ever. Never, ever, ever. Never done it.
I'll say this: Roy Keane, Vieira in terms of football was a better player, but Roy Keane was the most influential captain in the Premier League history. The most influential player in one team. Roy Keane was the most influential. Not his greatest abilities, but the influence he had on a team to win and drive a team to go and get over the line and to set a structure, to set an environment and a kind of a way of being in the club. Roy Keane
high standards.
Yeah, Roy Keane was. When Rio Ferdinand signed, he passed the ball went a bit straight.
Oh, you brought up Rio a few times. You see the way people are talking about Varane? They did this to Rio as well, especially after he got scored by Ronaldo in the Champions League when he scored that hat trick. Every single time he's done Rio, and people are like, he's not world class. He's peaked already. He's got concentration issues. They were all proven wrong. And it'll be the exact same thing with Varane. Exact same thing.
I welcome it personally. So, we've spoken about Varane. We've got a centre back in.
Can I just add that I was at that game? Game. Brazilian Ronaldo got a standing ovation. The only time in 30 years me going to that stadium I have ever seen or heard of a United fans giving an opposition player and standing ovation. So that's how special Ronaldo was. And you know what? At that time, he was a couple of kilos heavy, but he still was a baller.
Facts.
Yeah, R9 was very, very special, to be fair.
I was watching that game at home. I went at the stadium.
Bro, I sneaked in. I got kicked out at halftime, sneaked back in, and I found a seat somewhere.
Typical Nuruddin, to be honest with you. Some of those stories you've told me.
Yo, those days, you know what ruined us sneaking into gigs and like stadiums was 9/11. Now after 9/11, security on sport and music went through the roof. We would sneak into the biggest arena, the biggest gigs, because we used to black put high-vis on empty box. Deliveries.
Nice.
Oh, that shit actually works.
Bro. Listen, history
in films.
Yo, off stream. You don't incriminate yourself.
Bro,
Yeah.
There's a history, especially in South Central Mank where I grew up. There's books written about blaggers. Put it this way, my guy from Manchester went on the pitch with Man United Bayern Munich and had a photo taken with a team. That's how much of a culture of blaggers there are in Manchester culture, bro. That's how much it is. The stuff they went and did around Europe, sneaking into events, selling merchandise, going to different parts of the world. Obviously, if you're white, it helps more. And some of these guys are not white. But the culture, it still exists. Something happening in Manchester, we go, it's our town, our city. And it's the only thing I've ever been arrogant about in my life. I'm not arrogant about most things. As most of you know, as a black person in this country, you can't be too arrogant about anything. But the only thing I was arrogant about before 9/11 is if it's in Manchester, then we're going to find a way to get in. And the box and the high vis used to work all of the time. All of the time. A cap down, deliveries, because on the big events, if you can find a door to get in, everybody's hectic, nobody's focused. Everybody's like, it's busy tonight.
You tell us more about these stories after, Nuruddin. But we are going to move on to a new midfielder because, for me, this is what we should be looking at next. We've been linked with Ruben Neves, and there have been some links with Ndidi. They haven't been great sources, to be fair, but they're out there. We haven't been linked with Ndidi for a while, and it just randomly come out this morning. But guys, what do you think of the midfield situation? Do you think that we'll be fine with just Sancho and Varane as signings, or do you think we need a midfielder? I know you know what I think, but I'm going to start with you, Bryant. What do you think? Do you think we need a midfielder, or do you think we can survive without one?
Oh yeah, we definitely need a midfielder. I think the difficulty of this signing is the role and profile of player is harder to identify and then go and get that player. I don't think that Manchester United are going to number one, at this point, they're not going to go after somebody that they are not confident they're going to be able to secure a deal with. And so, especially if they see that that's a hole that they need to plug this season, that's the thing that worries me. Number one, I think that the fact that we know, I mean, Fabrizio Romano has said himself that Manchester United are currently waiting to officially confirm Raphael Varane before they turn their attention to a midfielder. So they have a whole month of August to figure that out. And the fact that we know we have to plug that gap gives me a little bit of trepidation that we will sign somebody that might not necessarily be in the same ilk of player that we've already brought in. And then there's the extenuating factor of that type of player changes depending on what happens with Pogba on the other side too. So for me, I do think we need a midfielder. If we need a midfield destroyer, who's just going to go in, tackle, win the ball back. I don't think right now, as far as players that could be quote unquote available, you could look further than like Chouameni or Ndidi. But if you were going to try to bring in somebody who is a bit more of like a shuttler, a bit more technical, Ruben Neves would not be a bad option. But he doesn't move the needle in the way that Varane and Sancho have. So, you know, and I think that Manchester United are doing a good job at, since this season, we're going to have fans back in the stadium, that they're raising intrigue going into the season, so that there's going to be a lot of support from match day one, which is good. And so this midfield signing, I think, is one that Manchester United fans want more than we've already gotten. What we've already gotten has been exceptional. So, I mean, the long and short is I know we need a midfielder. I don't know who we're going to get, but I would not be surprised if I got up one day, checked Twitter, and saw Ruben Neves to Manchester United. Here we go. I genuinely believe we're going to sign him before the season starts.
Yeah, the links with Ruben Neves has been a lot stronger than the other midfielders, to be fair. But Spice, what are you thinking? Would you be happy with Ruben Neves, or do you have another midfielder in mind that you'd like to see us sign?
Honestly speaking, in the whole midfield situation, I would be happy with Ruben Neves because he's been a player that I've kept my eye on for a couple of years, ever since he was in the Championship for Wolves when he left Sporting Lisbon and went on loan there and then got the permanent move to Wolves. And I always thought to myself, Ruben Neves, his ability to dictate the ball from deep as well. He's a deep lane playmaker as well, which would help. He's decent when it comes to getting intercepting ball interception and ball distribution. He looks like a player that can, I believe, eventually will leave Wolves and go on to bigger, better things. I can see the talent right there. It's whether Manchester United depends. I believe if Manchester United, once they confirm the signing of Varane, it's about selling players before they actually try and go for a centre defensive midfielder. It's about who they can get off the books and free up some money as well. So I think once Varane is done, once they've sold a couple of players, then we'll probably look at the potential of Manchester United probably securing a centre defensive midfielder. And I would welcome Varane. I would also welcome Camavinga because we've been linked to Camavinga for the last couple of weeks. We've been linked to other centre defensive midfielder, but we definitely need a centre defensive midfielder because my eyes cannot handle seeing McFred next season. If I see that, I'm pulling my eyes out my face, man. I'm telling you, I will definitely go blind and miss out for the rest of the season. I cannot do a McFred next season. It's not needed. If we want to elevate and become better and actually really challenge, we cannot see a McFred next season. We have to sign someone that's good enough. I want perfect. I want the quality, but looking at what Manchester United have done, bringing in Sancho for that price and bringing Varane, I do kind of feel like they've spent and they've come close to the maximum of their transfer budget. In a situation, probably they need to sell. They need to sell in order to free up some fund. They probably still have some money left, but they still need to sell to get that centre defensive midfielder. But again, we need a centre defensive midfielder.
It's just a hard jigsaw that for me is the hardest puzzle. Like Manchester United historically have struggled with signing midfielders. Like even when like we've had some really, really exceptional central midfielders come through the club. We've also had some stinkers. And they're like we've gone after some players that we've had to change around and move to get the best out of them. We've had some players who've been able to come in and slot perfectly into what we need them to do, and it's just such a hard position because not all DMs are the same. Not everybody plays that double pivot position the same way. You don't always get the same thing, so it's about getting the right type of player. And it's such a sensitive thing because what we already have there is just not good. I mean, except for Fred, right? But outside of that, what we have there is just not good. And so it's such a this is a hard one. I wouldn't be surprised if this one went to the deadline because of how difficult it is to find the right person. They've done such a good job of getting the right player up to this point. Like they can't deviate from that and just bring in any old person to plug the gap, because then that's just reverting back to what we've done in the past.
No, it's true. It's true. Nuruddin, what do you think? So Paul Pogba could be leaving. We don't know for sure. Do you think the profile of player in terms of the DM changes depending on if Paul Pogba stays or not?
No. Man United need a central defensive midfield player, and that's nothing to do whether Pogba plays or not, whether Pogba stays or not. But if Pogba's going to stay, I can't see Pogba leaving. Pogba's going to go on a free, and it's going to be a very irony that twice Pogba will go for free.
Yeah.
Pogba most likely will go to Real Madrid if the pandemic is what it is. If the pandemic's not going away anytime soon, and Real Madrid won't be paying him the wages that he wants, then he might be able to sign a contract at Man United, because Man United would want to keep him. Juventus and Man United are the only two places. He won't even go to Paris. And the Paris rumors I'm dismissing, but the Paris Saint-Germain fans have basically told him already, we don't want him. Yeah. So Ruben Neves was somebody that I've kept a really close eye on for the past 2.5 seasons, because I've always thought, would he be good enough? Is Neves be good enough? I'm really sorry, guys. I don't think Neves is good enough. He is no better than what we've got right now, and what we've got is terrible. I seriously watched that kid, and I've watched him really close. Since they came up, I really have watched Wolverhampton, especially how they sit up against the big teams. Other than his couple of shots from outside the area where he can hammer it, he's average midfield player. And the reason why I say that is because if he was really that top quality kind of defensive central midfield player, Portugal would have had him in their starting lineup, other than starting the two that they did in the Euros. They were poor. Both of them, two of them who started, were poor. And Neves, for me, I think people are overhyping him because obviously his age, he's still young, so he can still get better. I don't think he's reached his ceiling. He can still get better. But I have not looked at any of his attributes and thought, this guy's going to be world class. Now, he can shut me up, and I'm happy to eat my words when he joins on Barcelona or Real Madrid. And then he's just, sky's the limit for him. But I don't rate him at all. Ndidi is brilliant defensively, positional-wise. He's brilliant, but on the ball, he lacks a lot in terms of on the ball. The guy that we were linked with is Samuel Niguez of Atletico Madrid. We're linked with him, but he, at this moment in time, is supposed to be going in a swap between him and Niguez. I can't even say it. Saul
Niguez.
Yeah, Saul Niguez. He's supposed to be going to a swap deal between Griezmann going back to Atletico Madrid and Saul Niguez is going to Barcelona. But the wages that Griezmann is on at Barcelona are absolutely up here.
Currently about 800,000 euros.
So that is not something that Atletico Madrid can afford unless he takes a huge pay gap. I've been informed that these representatives are now a guy called Barnett. I think it might be the same guy who is looking after, or the same agency that's looking after Varane and Camavinga as well. I think, and I think it might be the same. Unless I'm getting it wrong, it could be the same agent that Bale was under as well. So I know that his brother supports United, or his brother likes Man United. I know that his brother posts a lot on social media sometimes and likes Man United, and he speaks English and he says he likes Man United. In our time, he is the guy of today. Every transfer we always link with Saul Niguez, and we were linked with Schneiderlin. We were linked with Schneider, and we were linked with Gaitan. So I think if the price to be done, they reckon about 40 million. He is a player that we could get. Now, my only problem with him is that Partey was the sitter. He played as a number 8. But I remember when he went on loan years ago, he played as a centre half. This is how I don't know, was it Real Falcao? I think it might have been a Real Falcao. I remember watching a game and going, he's playing as a centre half. So he's got the qualities, but the best thing about him that he's so good on the ball. He's technically gifted on the ball. His positioning. So any player that's ever been coached by Simeone, you know their positioning is second to none, because that man literally walks in training. He literally walks players through where he wants them to be. He literally grabs them and takes them there and tells them, stay, don't go. That's what he does to his whole team. So he's a classic guy that I think, and the only other player who's got the technical abilities and the fight and hunger that I see of a Manchester United midfield player is Sabitzer, who plays for RB Leipzig. He is more as a number 8, but I've seen him for Austria and for RB Leipzig play as the holder at times. He's got good qualities to go forward, but I've seen him be disciplined in that kind of position and to be a kind of a CDM. So I've seen it from both of them, but are we going to get people that can, or are we going to get somebody who can do that? The guy that I genuinely, is both of them play for, and they have a really good partnership because one holds and one goes, but they play for Everton, but he's brilliant. The Brazilian guy used to play for Napoli. I genuinely rate him more than I rate him. I've seen him dominate in big games against teams and be on the ball and keep the ball moving and ticking than I've seen Neves ever do in against any big teams.
No, that's fair enough, to be honest with you. I don't know, the midfield thing is weird because, I don't think Ruben Neves is a bad player at all. I don't think he's a bad player. He's not really what I wanted, Mm-hmm. That's all it is. I don't know which midfielder we should. I think if Pogba stays, which is what people seem to think is going to happen, and he's playing in the middle, I think you need a certain kind of midfielder to play next to him. Mm-hmm. Whereas if he goes, I think there's more versatility because you can either go for an out-and-out defensive midfielder, you can go for a ball-winning defensive midfielder, or you can go for a Regista type, and you can partner them with someone else in the squad, whether it's Donny or Fred or whatever. But I feel like if you're playing Pogba in the middle, I feel like there's a bit of a limitation on the sort of player that you can go for, and I don't feel like Ruben Neves and Paul Pogba together is complementary in the slightest, and that's what I don't like about it. I don't think it's at all.
Rachel, I can see Pogba and Ndidi working.
Yeah, you can see Pogba and Ndidi working, absolutely. But the Ruben Neves thing, I don't know, it's just...
It's because Pogba lacks that level of discipline when it comes to defending. He lacks the discipline when it comes to defending and keeping his position, especially when we need him to just sit back and help the defense. That's the reason why you probably don't see it like that. Neves is not ultimately a holding midfielder as well. He's a bit more box to box as well. So ideally, Ndidi is the right guy because Ndidi will sit, just like Declan Rice will sit and let Pogba do his thing. And that's what you need right now in Manchester United if you want a double pivot to work. But again, we're looking like we might go into a 3 in the midfield from the reports that we've been hearing and reading.
This is the thing, though, right? I don't want Pogba having too much defensive responsibility. That's why I kind of liked him on the left because Pogba's only sort of role defensively was to occupy space when he tracked back. Occupying space, even though it is a way of defending, it's not It's not physically demanding, and it doesn't ask him to get stuck in. We know Paul Pogba has this nasty habit of just committing fouls, which is what you don't want. But if you ask Pogba to stay in that sort of space and just block a passing line, Paul Pogba can do that. And that's why I prefer him on the left, because when he's on the left, that's what he has to do. He just has to occupy space. Whereas you play him in the pivot, he has to actually go and intercept or go and tackle someone, and then he causes all sorts of issues. And if he goes in into too rash, then someone gets past him, and then he'll give away a penalty. I don't want that. Paul Pogba should be just far up the pitch, occupy space when he tracks back. He could, just help out, but not be directly involved in the nitty gritty stuff in the middle of the pitch. So I'm cool with him playing on the left, especially in the start of the season, right, where Rashford's going to be injured. He's going to be out until mid-October, I think it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if that's the case, then Paul Pogba and Martial will be fighting it out on the left, in my opinion. I think that's how it should just go. If we're going to get Ruben Neves, that's how it should go. If we get an Ndidi, then Paul Pogba goes in the middle, if he stays, of course. But I don't know. I know Bryant. Sorry, guys. Bryant did have to go because he's got an event that he has to go to. I will share his socials. I'll put it in the description for you guys to go and follow him. Make sure you do that. Danny, I'm pretty sure that was just internet issues or something, so he will probably be back. But before we're not going to wait for them, obviously. But I want to talk about next season, because I'm seeing a lot of things on the timeline, and basically we should be winning a Premier League or a Champions League next season. Yeah, I sort of in agreement with Nuruddin. I understand why people are saying it, because we should be winning those sort of titles, but my view is simply I don't think we will. And to put that expectation on when you know deep down that it's not going to happen, I think it's kind of counterintuitive, to be honest with you, especially if we don't get a midfielder. But Spice, talk to me. Do you think we can win a Premier League or a Champions League next season?
Realistically, no. 2 reasons, of course. We still need a centre defensive midfielder. And even after that, we probably still need an extra player, which is probably a dominant number 9. Yeah, because I can't go into next season with Cavani being our main striker, because I know he's always going to get injured at one point. And you can't just rely on that. You want someone that's going to come in and actually play every game and be scoring goals. And that's one thing that we're missing. That's why I say no. Second thing is, of course, our manager as well. I don't believe he has the know-how to get over the line. He's come close. He's shown that he can get close, and maybe he might be able to do it if he gets the opportunity again. But again, it's just that I don't have that confidence, because that final, it was the nail in the coffin that told me that he doesn't have it when it comes to these kind of situations. Whenever shit hits the fan, he can't handle it. He cannot handle it. So that's the reason why I don't feel like Manchester United could probably win a Champions League or Premier League. If they do, happy days. I'm so happy. We're going to be smiling. We're going to party up. We're going to say Ole was so wrong. I'm so sorry. You're going to be singing Ole at the wheel and everything. We'll do what we can. We'll buy him flowers and etc. Buy him gifts and etc. Just to say we're sorry. But if it is what it is, but I just don't believe so because of those reasons. We still need 2 extra players, centre defensive midfielder and a striker. And again, our manager.
No, that's fair enough. Shout out to Gaush. I think that's how it's like Gaush Adley. Wanted to shout out for his little Princess Marie.
Big up.
Big up to you.
Big up, Maria.
Elbushman asking for money in the chat. Why am I not shocked? Honestly. I agree. I think there's limitations in both the squad and the manager. But this is the thing, right? As United fans, as people who love the club, nothing would please me more than to be proven wrong. You know what I mean?
That's what we want.
Exactly.
Well, listen, show us something. We'll get on the train. We'll never get off it. We want to get off? No, we don't want to get off. We get to the glory land. We're only getting off till we get to the glory land. I look at Man United. So Man United, I put the tweet out there because I'm dyslexic. People maybe have misconstrued what I was saying. Basically, what I wanted to say, and I can do it more better than verbally. For Manchester United, from the way the season, the last 2 winners of the league in the last 3 years have been playing, 3/4 of the games that they play in the Premier League to win the Premier League, you have to bring your level A and intensity game. where you snuff the possession and ball from the other teams, where you are constantly squeezing that team till you just get score the goals and get just win, right? That's what's been happening. It's not been like, oh, they're losing 5 or 6 and then, you know what I mean? Like back in the day, teams can lose 5, 6, 7 and they can still win the league. That doesn't happen anymore. What happens now, you have to play with a level of intensity for you to absolutely dominate games, at least 3/4 of your games in the Premier League. I can't see that Man United do that. That's what we're missing. Now the jigsaws are in, we're missing 2 jigsaws, like Spice says. We're missing a crucial world-class central defensive midfield player and a dominant striker. So when those pieces are in, then you then build up the number one thing a team needs. Is a level of intensity in a league season. To be able to play, even when you're playing badly, to be able to have enough to pull it out the hat. And I'm talking about opening teams up. It doesn't matter if it takes 95 minutes. I don't care. Open teams up. Do not draw games. Rather risk it to lose games, right, than to draw them. That is what the level of intensity is going to take to win a Premier League.
A win and a loss is more points than 2 draws.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's
No,
why
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. So to me, that's the thing we have to come up with. Do I think the manager's good enough? He has to drastically change. Because the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that I researched, the Molde games are on YouTube. Some of the highlights, some of the training and the highlights and some of the games are on. I'm not an expert on Norwegian football, but before Ole, when I thought Ole was going to get the contract, I spent hours and hours to try to watch wherever I can find Molde games. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like, I agree with Brian, and of course, I think we all understand Spice. It's the same with everybody else. That he spent more time building the back of house than he has focused on what's going on in the front of house. And if Ole, that Molde team, played 4-3-3, they played similar style to Liverpool, they pressed high, they won the ball back, and they banged in goals. So it was similar to the way Jurgen Klopp plays. That is what, and in that first 6 months, that's what Man United played with. 4-3-3, and even Pogba was pressing. Everybody was pressing in that first 3 months. And that's what Ole sold us. So if Ole now, if the back of house is all right, if he can focus on getting in that training ground to build that level of intensity, and then the other big thing for Ole is the substitutions, being decisive. When I don't care, it's your best player. I don't care if it's Jadon Sancho. If he's having a nightmare, get somebody else on to change the game. Because a squad wins the league. First 11 don't.
Exactly.
Unless you're Liverpool from a couple of years ago. But no, I understand all those points. Quick question from Arbiz says, with Jones being out for so long, now does anyone think he could be going through some mental health problems?
I've always thought that he was going through some mental health problem because look, it's been so long. The club cannot even tell us what is going on with Phil Jones. Nobody knows what's wrong with Phil Jones. No one knows. Is it injury? You can't be that injured for that long. And I, for some reason, thought that it's a mental health issue that he's going through that the club don't want people to know about. Even when he was having interviews about his testimonial saying that the only person that will be there will probably be his parents. He's acknowledging the fact that he's not favoured at Manchester United and people take him for a joke. That the only people that will be there will probably be his mum and dad for his own testimonial. So you have to look at that and think that that's a mental aspect right there. He's going through some things. We don't know exactly what it is, what kind of mental health problems he's going through, but it's clear to see to me is that he's going through it. Like even right now, preseason, why is he not at preseason? Why didn't he play against QPR? He's not injured. So there must be something.
Yeah. That man, well, I mean, we can all have a laugh and take the piss, but there's something serious going on. You know what I mean? Because I did sports psychology at uni, and the injury, managing the injury, it's one of the most loneliest times for footballers. Nobody wants to be injured. No sports person ever enjoys being injured. And they want to be out there competing because that's what they signed up for. And psychologically, it's incredibly damaging for you to get. But the biggest thing for me, I say about him, the mental health came from because he's one of those people that when they were kids, he never knew how to fall. You know, as a kid, you fall, your body then reacts, so it becomes an instinct. You know how to fall. You know not to have your arms out if you're going to fall in a certain way. Your body takes control. Sometimes your body takes control and your mind click into place and think, okay, instinct. Phil Jones, I remember from even when he first came, I remember going and watching it. When you watch the game in the stadium, it's quite different because you see the human being, the camera angles. What the cameras want you to see, that's what all you see when you watch a game, right, in football. When you're in the stadium, you actually see how somebody's body rolls because the ball goes somewhere else and the camera follows. Another camera goes onto that. But you see him, and the way he falls, he can never be in full control of his body. That's why all the memes are out there and all the videos and clips are out there. And if you can't do that, Bailly had that similar. Bailly is similar sometimes because he can't fully be in control of your body. And that's why he gets injured as well. There's certain players have that. Lewis Saha was the other guy. He didn't know how to fall and he would always do something, pull something or whatever. So these players are out there. But now, if it wasn't before, now it's definitely a mental health thing.
Yeah, I would say so. Because it's like Spice said, it doesn't make any sense. He's fit, he's physically fit. He's not playing in the preseason games. You don't even see pictures of him in training. Exactly. So it does tell me that there's something deeper going on. And we haven't actively tried to get rid of him. You know, a lot of people said that Phil Jones was more of a priority to get rid of than Chris Smalling. But Chris Smalling's gone. Remember that summer when he was going to Roma for a loan? People were like, why is he going? Why isn't Phil Jones going? So there must have been a reason for it, which is, you know, it's a shame because there was a time in his career when Fergie said that he'd be one of the best in the world. So
Fergie pulled a chapter in his name in his book.
Yeah.
It's very
and Fergie said he's going to be he could be good as Martin Edwards. Martin Edwards. Sorry,
Duncan Edwards.
Duncan Edwards, sorry.
Yes.
And Duncan Edwards was a guy, even though football was different, you could play centre half, you could play right wing, centre midfielder, and a striker. At times, Man United, the Busby Babes, regardless what's happening in the game, they were moving up the pitch for him to score the goals. That's a level of player he was. So, yeah, that curse, I think Fergie put that curse on him. But I do think the bankers who control Manchester United gave him 2 seasons ago 4.5-year contract. Both him and Smalling signed the contract, 4.5-year contract, within weeks of each other. So it just shows.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then with that level of wages, does he want to leave?
No, I don't know how much he's on a week, but considering he's not playing or doing anything,
it's over 100 for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it really over 100?
About 120.
So not only did he get a contract to sort of, you know, maintain his value, he actually got a massive pay rise. He was not anywhere near that before, was he?
Yeah.
I thought he was on like 80. Yeah. That's what I assumed anyway.
And also, there's also 12 months optional as well after that.
No.
Every player at Man United gets 12 years optional. That's why even Ole got 12 years optional. That's how the bankers do deals. That's how bankers who don't know nothing about football do deals.
No, that's true. That's true. Now here says we need to control games now and sustain pressure. Midfielder needs to come in. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of things left to sort out.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is how we're getting rid of. I don't know if that's the question, but we need to. Pereira needs to go. Lingard needs to go. Matic for me needs to go.
Mata should have went as well.
Yeah, Mata's staying. Mata's staying. Mata is going to have a kind of a ambassadorial. He's going to do his coaching.
Yeah, that's a separate thing. I don't really care about that one.
But yeah,
he's taken a pay cut twice as well. I've been told. So
yeah,
it's not a big deal.
He might become one of the coaches. Maybe he'd be a good coach. Maybe who knows?
You never know.
Never know. But to me, Pereira definitely. So Pereira needs to go. It was up to me. I would send Scott McTominay on a loan. Me personally. That's me.
I don't think we can though, because if we're only getting one midfielder and again, like Paul Pogba, you said Paul Pogba might leave. And Matt's going to leave. We won't have enough midfielders.
But then Donny then will start. Like Donny then will be guaranteed starting position for me.
So wait, so if Matic leaves and then McTominay say leaves, we'd have Fred, Pogba, Donny, and the new midfielder that comes in.
How many is that for?
It's 4. Yeah. Yeah. 4.
Centre mids.
Yeah. I don't think we won't loan out McTominay. You know the club. You know
you're right, Rachel. You know what? You're right. If we're going to play with 4-3-3, then we're going to need a 5th guy because you need to have a cover for 5th in case 2 get injured. And, you know what I mean? 2 are not playing their best football.
And again, when you consider the fact that Rashford will be out till mid-October, we don't know how he's going to recover. Pogba might be playing on the left as well, so we might have one less midfielder if he stays. So I don't think McTominay will be going anywhere.
I don't see Pogba playing on the left. Sancho will be possibly just switched on the left, or Martial on the left, and then you still have Sancho there. So that problem is resolved now.
It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting for me. But I don't know. Like, he deserves to play, and I think he might come back a better player, Scott McTominay, because the whole club, the propaganda PR to make this guy like he's Iniesta or he is Busquets. It's just, or it's like the propaganda. I can't take it, Rachel. I swear I can't. I'm like, who are you watching? Just because he's good at push-ups and press-ups in training at the same time as the coaches and puts the combs out. That is not going to give you an ability.
Exactly.
Well, you know, I don't know. Every manager has like a player that they just rely on in some way, whether it's because they do what the manager says, they follow the instructions. You know, every manager has it. Fergie had it. Like, loads of managers have it, and sometimes people don't really understand why on the pitch, but off it, there could be a role that McTominay has that Ole just likes. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the obsession is, to be honest.
Rachel, I know because I'm around Manchester. I know people who work at the ground and training. It's because he is the consummate professional.
Yeah, he probably listens to everything that Ole says, hangs on his last words, and does everything that Ole says. Yeah,
I'm sorry to say, Rachel, but I need talent. I don't care if you're a consummate professional.
No, I agree.
There's been players that
you know what it is, though. No, I understand that, right? But not everything is about talent. Like,
No. But I'm talking when you're playing in a position for Manchester United, you need to be able to pass the ball 5, 10, 15 yards. You need.
I hear that.
I can't. I'm sorry, but they build him up to be like he's better than he is, and he's not that. To me,
I've never heard that before, though.
As a squad player, 100%.
Yeah.
As a squad player.
I don't think anyone thinks he should start, to be fair. I don't think that's the case. So is the propaganda in Manchester basically that McTominay should be a starter?
I believe so, because
Really?
a lot of times I see McTominay in the starting lineup.
Rachel,
Really?
they go first. Name on the team sheet.
McTominay instead of Fred.
I mean, I don't want any of them in there, but I didn't think that was the case. I just thought it was a thing where people just knew that they were just squad players. That's crazy.
Rachel, I'm telling you, that's what they've said. The people up. No, it's not just in Manchester. It's the media as well. Like
but no one listens to the media. They're all full of shit.
He is the guy. He is the guy that's gonna do it. And I'm like, I'm sorry. In the final, I'll give it up with him. And that's the thing about it with me. I don't think he's that talented.
No.
But
I don't either.
do I think that? I think he's a squad player. I 100% believe that. I think he can choose his games. He'll come on and do a job for you. In a game where you need to do something, he'll come on and do a job for you. But as a starting midfield player for Manchester United, in the games, in the biggest of games, no. No,
I agree. I don't think if I'm looking at our midfielders, I don't think any of them are good enough. If I'm being honest with you, not one. And it's not even like a thing where, like, you know, like with Liverpool's midfield, where individually they may not be the most talented players, but together they work so effectively well. We don't even have that. We don't have. It's not like our midfield's like not talented but effective. We don't have an effective or talented midfield, and that's my issue.
Yeah, but Rachel, you can see the coaching on those three players and the level of intensity which they play with.
Absolutely.
You can see that. That's a training ground, and that's what Klopp says. It's that Gegen press. It's that absolute smothering of the football and getting and like consummate professionals in terms of what you're talking about. if Jurgen Klopp was coaching our midfield, I would think Fred and McTominay would improve significantly.
See, this is the thing, though, right? Like when you look at, say, we're looking at Fabinho, Henderson, and Wijnaldum. I know he's left. I know Wijnaldum's left now, but that's their three. That's their three midfielders, right? They could probably do maybe the Wijnaldum role in terms of like the work rate and all that stuff. But on the ball, no amount of coaching, in my opinion, helps Fred pass.
No, well,
the work rate and that I agree. The work rate, the positions, like how to press. I agree with you completely. Absolutely.
And that's what I mean. I'm not mean on the ball. Because if you look at to interrupt the Liverpool midfield, they don't the press of the three up front, Fabinho, Bobby Sunshine, I call him. Bobby Sunshine, yeah. Bobby Sunshine, Mane, Salah, they are the first bit of the press. Bobby is the trigger. Then the three midfielders go. But for me, Wijnaldum, and I was shocked what he came out with the other day. He was like Liverpool fans blamed him for everything. When from a United fan looking in from the outside, he was their most technical, gifted footballer on the pitch. They had Henderson, Milner. Those guys will run into the ground. They will absolutely give everything. But Wijnaldum was the guy who got on the ball and drove. And the way he plays for Holland, you see him. He's the most important player for the Holland national team. So I was quite shocked that they were scapegoating him. And so what I'm saying to you in terms of position, because Wijnaldum even on the ball, he didn't want him to get on the ball. He wanted him just to be pressing and winning the ball back and quick, because he's the way that Klopp believes the number 10 is the press. The press is the number 10. The press is the most creative player on the pitch, because if you win the ball up high on the pitch and you've got quick players who know what runs to make and the position to get into, you're going to score more goals than having just one player that can be marked. That's what he believes. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying no way would there ever be anything on the ball, but there will be less wastage of the ball. But the biggest thing is their press and their positioning. And Man United, they don't have that. They don't have that. We don't have that as a team. And those two midfielders, even with those two midfielders at home at Old Trafford last season, Rachel and Spice, we conceded 29 goals. We conceded more goals than Liverpool did. And Liverpool had fifth, fourth choice centre-halves, guys that they bought.
This says counter-press even more so. Yeah, I agree. Like, this is the thing with the whole McFred thing. I think it's like a false sense of security for Ole, because you understand why they have it. Because I think the issue is, it's not that McFred are so good defensively. It's that when you think about, say, for example, Matic and Pogba combination, when Pogba being so poor defensively, and then Matic being a slug, let's be real, he's a slug, you end up in a situation where you probably would have conceded more goals. Do you know what I mean? And then, like, every combination that we have, unfortunately, or had last season, there was a weakness somewhere. So I think it was a thing where Ole decided that if you play Pogba on the left, a different sort of threat, you play McFred, you still have Bruno and all the rest of them there, that maybe they could work around it and try and survive till the end of the season. But it's our midfield. I'm just tired. I just want a midfielder. Look, I would happily take two. I mean, Mohammed here says if we sign Sal plus Camavinga to replace Pogba, what we saying? We still have the same issue. In my opinion, Sal is not a defensive midfielder.
Camavinga is his stats is up there as one of the best tacklers in the league, best hustlers in the league.
I understand that. But he's playing for a mid-table French side. I'm not putting down the French league. I'm saying he plays for a mid-table French side. He's 18 years old. There's a difference. Like if he was an established player, like if he was 25 years old and he's already established his game and he's set in his ways, I understand it. But at 18 years old, it's a lot to come to Manchester United and be the starting DM. I can't put that. I can't accept that.
But Rachel, that's the best thing about 18-year-olds. They don't give a damn. At a certain age, a certain thing, they're absolutely brave hearts because there's no reputation beyond them. Nobody would expect him to be. Nobody would expect him to be this top player. But I think there's certain 18-year-olds who play with so much arrogance and he's
one of them.
His team's mid-table, and he in the big games is giving it with the best of them. Like, and that's the big thing I've seen about him. The difference between Neves and him, when I've seen him against Paris Saint-Germain, Marseille, Lyon, when I've seen that kid, I've gone, oh my gosh, look at this kid. He, in his team, Rachel, stands out so much. It's unbelievable how he stands out. It's like he's almost, I mean, I don't want to even use his words, but Wayne Rooney stood out as a 15, 16-year-old at Everton. Camavinga sticks out like that at Lens. Honestly, he sticks out that levels. And I was watching him 2 years ago. He was 16 when he was doing madness in the front. Like he's played 2 years, 2 seasons in a row. He's played with the stuff that he's been doing.
I don't know.
No, you should watch him. You know that.
Look, I'm not doubting his talent. I'm not doubting his talent. I'm just saying that at 18 years old to come to Manchester United and to start as a DM, right? When then a lot of people said, "No, I hear that."
And be first team member. It can happen.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is? When David De Gea came to Manchester United, he had a fantastic back four that helped him in front of him to help him settle. And even then, he still needed time to settle. Yeah. We're talking about bringing in Camavinga into the midfield. Yeah, exactly. If you're talking about bringing Camavinga into a midfield, right, that's not good enough, who have issues themselves. It's not a stable midfield, and he's coming in, he's learning. This is a midfield that is dysfunctional. You know what I mean? If David De Gea came and there was a back four of Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, Botner, and freaking Raphael, for example, do you think he would have survived? Of course he wouldn't have. There's no way.
Absolutely not.
So that back four in front of him was important, and it helped him. Like the communication, the leadership, that was all important.
Yeah. The biggest thing I would say, I remember somebody saying when De Gea came, was like, we've signed a punk rocker, heroin addict punk rocker. He was like, he's like, I'm sure he's injecting. I'm sure he is. But one thing I would say about that, there's certain young players that it's not about their age, it's about their arrogance. Wayne Rooney had that. When I watch Camavinga, I don't see an 18-year-old. I've not seen an 18-year-old who plays like that, with that level of arrogance, with that level of confidence. And I look at him as someone that I think he could go any place, anywhere, and play, because he believes in his thing and he's that arrogant. And that's what I see from him. I've not seen any midfielder in a long time that can play, honestly. And I've been trying to watch the French league for a couple of years because of the ballers that FDL get. I remember watching the Monaco team, and I remember looking at Fabinho and going, wow, 1 minute he's playing right back, 1 minute he can play he can play as a holder, next minute he can play as a number 8, next minute he's the guy that's tried to run with the ball and to attack and put passes through. So I remember seeing him play all these different roles, and going, oh my God, that guy's a baller.
Yeah.
So for me, Camavinga, when I look at him, I think he's some special. I mean, only time will tell. But 100%, I agree with your reservations and the points that you made, Rachel, that an 18-year-old being dropped into that. But the biggest thing I think what could be a plus, he will have Paul Pogba there, who would keep him, and then you got Varane, like Varane being one of the most successful French exports in the history of French football.
Yeah, no, I hear that, you know, and like I said, I do have reservations about it, not because of his talent. I think I've heard enough good things. I haven't watched him really. I've heard enough good things about him.
Seen him, and I'm convinced that he'll be an exceptional talent in the next couple of years. So
no, I hear it. It's just our team isn't stable. But even though there's a lot of things in the club at the moment that are looking better, we all know that
it's not stable.
It can go back to crap again because this is how we work as a club. So is it fair to bring in an 18-year-old who's going to start in our midfield, no matter how talented he is, but it's an unstable midfield, an unstable team? Whereas, like, as Steve said here, and he's absolutely right, Wayne Rooney joined arguably the best team in the country, not the same. And yeah, he's right. Centre forward isn't the
Actually, no, Wayne Rooney joined at the beginning of a rebuild. People forget that.
No, I know, but we were still one of the best teams.
Yeah,
in,
we were one of
we
the
were
best. Yeah,
like,
we were-
it was like after the Chelsea little bit of dominance,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
When
Wayne Rooney.
Rooney came, Ronaldo came, and then that's when we built to the next level. But it
Yeah.
was a rebuild. It was a team that was coming out of his last bit because Van Nistelrooy was there, and then Van Nistelrooy left.
That's another thing though. He did play alongside Van Nistelrooy as well for a little while. It's not like he came in and he started.
Yeah.
No,
But he
I
was
agree.
arrogant.
I agree.
He was so arrogant. He was unbelievable. Honestly, watching him, I remember when he made his debut. I remember thinking, "Who the hell do you think you are?" Like, I'm like, "You're arrogant, but you're not arrogant." Like, he took the free kick. He told both kicks. He told kicks.
I'm taking this.
Don't move out of the way, mate. This is time for my hat trick. And I'm like, I'm stood in the strap for it. We're all looking at each other like that. What is he just, this is his debut, and he's like, step away. This is mine.
What a player
But
he
that's
was.
why it was special. Wayne Rooney, young Wayne Rooney was special. It's just the drinking and the injuries that got him, and a lot of it came from the drinking. But the thing that would go with your side as well, Rachel, is the fact that Donny was not played at all. So Camavinga's looking at, thinking, if Donny, who's more experienced than me, who's played in the Champions League semi-finals and played and actually scored the goals in the quarterfinals in the last 16, you know what I mean, in the semi-finals, if he can't get a game, how the hell am I ever going to start a game? So that's what he was thinking, and he wants to play first team. Camavinga's not a kid that you sign and you put him on the bench. He's a guy who plays.
Yeah,
I hear that. The Donny thing, like I think he'll start next season in quite a few games. To be honest with you, do you know why I think it? Because I remember when in the beginning when I was a bit confused as to why Donny wasn't playing more often. There was a report that came out, and he literally said that he didn't realize how physical the Premier League was, and he started bulking up. And then when you add the fact that he's not a pivot player, which I've said to people before, and that he's been learning to play that role, it makes me think that this year was all about him settling in, learning how Ole wants to play, and then adapting. What I would say though is that he should have gotten more game time still to get used to it. Like he didn't play enough games. I absolutely agree. I think he had, like, in order to learn, you still have to play, right? So if you're learning to play that role, he should have, like, even in the smaller games where we didn't have to play McFred against the likes of West Brom or whoever, Donny should have been playing and learning at that point.
Rachel, on that one there, that is the biggest defense. That you are a lawyer, aren't you? You are, you are a lawyer. You have got the lawyer.
She patted up the big situation so easily.
But I watched Donny. Listen, I watched Donny at Ajax. I watched his games. He's not a pivot player, and we play with a double pivot.
Yeah, when Donny, for me, when I'm watching game after game after game after game, I'm watching Fred and McTominay. I'm like, if you can't get into this team, and then when he's had this chance, one of the best games that I remember last season was Bruno, Matic, Pogba, and we played like a diamond midfield. Yeah, we played, and we absolutely. It's the only game where Man United was super dominant. Like, we were so dominant, it was unbelievable, especially the first half.
It was the Leipzig game, wasn't the 5-0?
No, it wasn't. It was actually the one when Cavani came in and scored. It was in the League Cup, and it was Everton away, and we played Donny, Bruno, Pogba, and Matic. Matic was starting a bit. Matic was almost like, we almost like played five at the back, because Matic was almost like a third centre half in a weird way. But the pressing, we pressed. Donny van de Beek's first touch football with Pogba and Bruno was just out of this world. Absolutely out of this. And I was like, please, how could you show me that and then give me Fred and
But by the same token, Nuruddin, Donny also had a few stinkers as well.
No,
I'm not going to sit here and say it's all his fault or anything like that. It's not like that. But I think there was a level of, he needed some time to adapt to certain things.
I understand that.
I agree. He should have gotten more game time. Like, bringing him on for 4 minutes is insane, like ridiculous.
I 100% understand that. 100% understand that. That as a player, you need to get used to the way the team plays. You need to get used to the Premier League as well. I understand that. But as a two-touch footballer, I've seen Donny in games where he is the only light in the team because he's tried to quicken up the play, and he's the only midfield player that's making runs.
But they're not finding him. But we see him. They're not finding him at all. They're not seeing him.
I noticed that when he was playing as the 10, I think it was against West Ham, we drew 0-0. I think it was. Do you remember that game? Horrendous game. And there was a couple of runs that he made which were really nice, and no one found him. But by the same token, the thing about Donny van de Beek is that his movement has always been excellent. He's a very intelligent player, but I find that on the ball sometimes he lacks, in the sense that when he pops it off, for example, he doesn't turn and try and run towards goal. He will just pop it off even if it means playing backwards, and sometimes that can be frustrating, especially in the Premier League when spaces start to open up. I remember seeing it against Leicester in the FA Cup. He had a chance to play it forward.
Rachel, he's used to an Ajax.
No, I hear that. But that's what I'm saying, Nuridan. He has to get used to it.
Yeah.
They
move together. They took the shapes, different shapes in different parts of the pitch, and you all move together. And that's the Ajax way, isn't it? The way they play. But
that's what I was thinking about with Chelsea fans and Ziyech. Like, I understand the frustration with him, but he's used to playing a certain way. And it's the same with Donny. So they both have to adapt to how their new team wants to play, or expand their game a little bit. And I think that if he can do that, then he'd be a fantastic player for us.
I thought Ziyech dominated certain games last season. I don't know what Chelsea fans are moaning about. Honestly, it's weird. It's weird when you support the team, what you see. The same thing about Jorginho. Like, obviously, Lambs was saying what she was talking, but it was not just Lambs, it was other Chelsea fans as well, saying he's horrendous, he's this, he's that. And I'm like, wow.
No, but you know what the Jorginho thing is, Nuridan? Do you remember how much stick Michael Carrick used to get for us?
Yeah.
Do you remember? There's a certain type of player in this world, right, where they just, no matter how well they play, no matter how well they do their role, because it's not flashy, people will sit there and say they're not good enough. I remember it with Michael Carrick. I used to even before like that, it was just Facebook, right, or like MSN back in those days where it was this, there was no Twitter or anything like that, and people would speak about Michael Carrick like he was some bum, and I would just sit there and be like, how can you say such a thing? It's blasphemy, absolute blasphemy.
In some ways,
Mohammed says Rice, Van der Beek, and Bruno might be it. Listen, at this point, I'm not even fussed. I just want someone who's functional, quality to come in the midfield. I've had enough. I don't care about individual names anymore. I just want quality in there. People, it's been an hour and a half. Great stream. Apologies for Danny. Danny had a personal thing that he had to deal with. And obviously, Bryant had to go out. As I said before, I will share their socials in the description because you guys need to follow them. Both excellent. Danny has some really insightful points. Honestly, you should definitely follow him. Devil in the details. Spice, let everyone know where they can find you.
Of course, obviously, you can find me on my channel. Just remember to subscribe to Red United TV, and also remember to follow the official Instagram of Red United TV, which is Red United TV1. And if you want to follow me, it's Ivorian_Spice across the Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And that's it, man.
Cheers, Spice. And thank you for coming on. I've enjoyed it. I haven't been on a stream with you for ages. I blame Bob.
It's Bob's fault. It's Bob's fault. Don't worry. The season will come, and then we resume.
Yeah, for sure. I miss Beaks as well. Nuridan, well, everyone knows Mr. Structure, but Nuridan, let everyone know where they can find you.
You shouldn't say the N word. He doesn't like it when you say the N word. Call him Mr. Structure.
No, sorry.
It's my bro.
It's all good. Rachel can call me wherever she wants, bro. Wherever. People that are allowed. Thank you as well. But yeah, no, United Real Therapy, Mr. Structure on Twitter. I'm just trying to hold down the giddy army. But too many people are getting giddy. Like you said, and we dealt with it in this tonight. Champions League and League. You need more than signings to win that. You need intensity.
Absolutely.
I agree. Oh, big up Wendy Grant as well. Always speaking facts. Quickly before we go, she says management is exhausted from the acquisition of Sancho and Varane. They want an easy route to acquire a midfielder. Bruno has recruited Neves. Neves wants to come. Settle fee with Wolves. Well, we'll just have to see. Man United, as we all know, this summer window has been kind of unpredictable, I would say. I think that's the best way to sort of describe it. I think they shocked us. I think they shocked everyone with how quickly they've gone through these transfers, but there's still some time left in the window, so you never know what's going to happen. Anyway, people, thank you for joining. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate your support. We're close to our target, so I really appreciate everyone's support and patience for the last few weeks because it's been very, very difficult, if I'm being honest with you. But there's new content coming. Grounded Chelsea is going to be on tomorrow, hosted by Jem. Grounded Arsenal is coming, hosted by Big Gunner as well. So make sure you tune into those. Fraud Watch will be back this week. And Offside Rule is now on Saturdays. We've had to change that because the ladies just couldn't make it with work and whatnot. So it'll be on Saturdays now. I'll make sure I tweet that out as well. But guys, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Peace.